Hey y'all, I'm Angela Barrett, and this is Talking South Carolina. Now y'all take a load off and listen, because no matter if you just moved here, thinking about moving here, been here your whole life, or you just plain nosy, bless your heart, I'll have something for you. Like, who's living in High Cotton? Who's madder than a wet hen? Places to go if you got a hankering for fried chicken, and where you can go to get drunk as Cooter Brown. We'll talk pig pickings, cow tipping, tillions, hay rides, who's buttering whose biscuits, what's a case quarter, and lots of other stuff. So stay a while. Y'all, it's gotta be a hoot.
This episode of the Talking South Carolina podcast has been brought to you in part by HomeMattersSC.com, professional real estate services and marketing in the Midlands of South Carolina for people who want more. And by SimplyArley.com, video editing, podcast production and consulting, graphic design, you name it. And now, she's a realtor by day and a podcaster by night. Here's your host of the Talking South Carolina podcast, Angela Barrett.
Hey guys, I've got with me today Jay Lavrinc. He is the Director of Customer Relations at the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce. Hey Jay.
Good morning. How are you?
I am good. Thanks for being here today. So,
it's my pleasure.
Have you always been in Florence? Is your family from Florence?
Well, you can tell by my accent that I'm not from the South. I grew up in a little town called Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was a corporate. I don't. Some military brats call themselves military brats. I think I was a corporate brat. Worked my way up into the organization and had some fairly high global positions back in the day. And so I have not always been from the South, but I do enjoy where I am. And I moved here about 14 years ago to Florence in South Carolina here and enjoyed every day of it.
Well, good. My hometown is not far from there. So tell me about the Greater Florence Chamber.
Let me go back. So I was running an organization here called ABB. I retired from there, kind of, and I was approached by the chamber because I knew a lot of people here within the Florence area. They asked if I would be their director of client services or customer services. I said, sure, I'd love to do that because I like people. And, Florence has grown in the last 14 years. I can tell people that when I first came down here, you probably wouldn't go through downtown Florence without a police escort. But now you can walk the streets. Yeah, it's almost true. It's almost true.
No, I'm laughing. Remember, I grew up right around there.
Right. So it's almost true. But now you can walk the streets. They have great restaurants. They have different, boutiques, and it's a beautiful place to come and visit and enjoy. We've got a couple hotels downtown. We've got a bunch of hotels across the area. A lot along the I-95 corridor. There's two major hotel chains here, Waldex and Raines, and they've run most of the hotels. But they've got, Victor's downtown. They've got the Town Hall. They've got El Agave, King Jefe. I mean, there's so many places you can have a little bit of a dinner, drink, or whatever you would like. And, you could just stroll along. We got the Behringer's General Store here. That's something new. It's kind of cool. If you're not a rotary dial phone person, it's a good opportunity to take your kids in there and see what they do. I've seen a lot of kids struggle with those trying to dial a phone because, today we don't even remember numbers, do we? We just have a name in there. We press the name and off we go. So
right.
And that's interesting because my wife's number, I always have to look it up if I have to look it up. So it's just in my phone and I press it and I talk to her. But yeah, so it's grown quite a bit. I was on a tour early on, and they said they were going to revitalize downtown, and they have done some great things. They've got some, Bird's Nest, Holy Smoke, and Little Jazzy's, or a couple other restaurants down here. So if you have a desire to have an evening out, you can come down here. We've got the museum. We've got the Performing Arts Center. They always have good concerts and stuff there. We got the Little Theater. Little Theater here is pretty interesting. And is it okay if I go into that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the little theater here is pretty much locals who are cast to be in plays. And my wife and I got involved probably about 5 or 6 years ago, just going, and they are amazing. It's amazing the local talents we have here. There are people here that probably should be on a professional level, but instead, have family and have other jobs, and they do this on the side, kind of. But the programming and the performance is just absolutely excellent. And we also have a symphony here. I mean, Florence City is only about 40,000 people. The county is only about 136,000. But we actually have a symphony, and they're excellent. So
cool.
if you and we have the Performing Arts Center, which is Francis Marion University has a Performing Arts Center. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility, and I think you can rent that out for parties and stuff like that. But the acoustics in there are great. They just did a rock concert kind of thing. It was pretty cool. That was just a couple of weeks ago. I went to that. So I get involved, not only with the chamber, but I get involved personally in Florence. And that was kind of, when I came down here, that's what I kind of asked the employees when I worked at ABB. I said, what's there to do? And their first answer was nothing. But there is a lot to do.
Right.
There is a lot to do. If you want to spend the time and sort out different things, there's lots to do. For example, the Downtown Development Group has a Florence After 5. It's the last Friday of every month, starting in May, and I think it ends in September. Mm-hmm. So the last Friday of the month, they close down Dargan Street. They have a band. They have vendors. They have beverages of all kinds. It's an opportunity for people to listen to great bands that come in, to dance, to have some, food from food trucks that come in, and have some, if they're adults, adult beverages. If they're not, kid beverages. So it's a great opportunity to see some neighbors, see some people maybe you hadn't seen in a while, and it's just a good time to come down and mingle.
Yeah. Tell me this. I know when I was young, there was I don't know what you call it. It was like a diner, but you had the old-timey counter where you sit on the round stools, and you could get ice cream, sodas, and all that good stuff. Still there?
No, that's not there, but they are bringing an ice cream parlor to downtown. So that will be opening here in the next couple months. That's going to be right on Evans. But no, that one is not around anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was a cool one. So why
that was
Florence?
Back in the day.
Yeah, it was. It's been a minute. So why Florence? What brought you?
Why Florence? As far as I was brought down here for a position.
Oh, I gotcha. And then you sort of fell into the chamber.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a good way of putting it. I kind of fell into it. But I was brought down here for a position. And when I left Pittsburgh, I went to my son and I said, my son's grown, and I said, here's my snow shovels and anything that I need for snow gear. And he said, Dad, why are you giving me this? And I said, because I don't intend to shovel any snow anymore.
No.
And that's why I like it here.
That's right. And one of the things that amazes me, I do real estate in real life, and people are always saying, well, how much snow do you get, or how cold it is? I'm like, you were asking all the wrong questions.
Right.
You need to know how hot it's going to get, because like right now,
it gets,
we're in the hundreds and we're still preheating. It is June. So
that's right. We haven't even gotten to July and August. That's for sure.
So you're asking the wrong questions.
We're just touching below 100 right now. We're doing the heat index. My wife's always like, oh, the heat index. I'm like, oh my goodness, just what temperature is it going to be? That's all I care about. But the humidity is the big thing. It'll suffocate you, but you get used to it. That's what I tell. But I will say this: I call my brother probably every February, January time frame, and I'll say, "What are you doing?" He'll say, "I'm shoveling snow," and I'll say, "Guess what I'm doing?" He said, "Don't tell me you're golfing." And I said, "Okay, I won't tell you I'm golfing, but I'm golfing." So,
right.
So it's temperate in the winter. I mean, your average day temperature's in the 50s. I mean, it's a great climate in South Carolina.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in South Carolina, especially where I am, I'm right outside of Columbia, and you can get to the beach or you can get to the mountains within about a 2.5 hour time frame, because we kind of
Right.
have it all, and good weather where there is not much snow to have to shovel, or anywhere you and I are, but maybe some in the mountains.
But you can go, and that's the thing about South Carolina, which people don't understand. It's not just a coastal state. I mean, it does go to the coast, but they have mountains as you get up into Columbia and up, towards your area up north. So they do sometimes get some snow up there if they're interested in snow. Florence, of course, is about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half from Columbia, and then we're about an hour and 10, hour and 20 from the beach. So if you think about Florence, it's kind of centrally located. We're about 50 some miles south of the North Carolina border. We're right between Columbia and Myrtle Beach. We're about 2 hours from Charleston. I mean, as a central location, we're not the capital of the state, but as a central location, we're kind of centralized in the PD region, which that entices a lot of people to come here. I know a lot of Northerners are moving out of the states that they're in.
Right.
A lot of that is taxes too. I mean,
Right.
taxes here are quite less expensive for a house. Well, I won't say quite less. I think I pay about 1/8 what I did when I was in Pennsylvania, and my house is much bigger, worth more money, and I pay less taxes. So that's kind of a plus.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. And the interstate, you're right there at 20 and 95. So
yes.
getting to Florence is kind of easy peasy.
Yeah, it is. It's very
Yeah.
easy. And it's an interesting scenario. The total midpoint from New York City to Miami, Florida is Florence. It's the same distance from New York City to Florence as it is Florence to Miami, which I found very interesting. I didn't know that, but if
Yeah, I
somebody's
didn't
doing
either,
a trip, it's a good stopover. We have plenty of hotels, plenty of eateries. We have malls here. We have anything like that. If you're just kind of where can I spend the night? And there's plenty of hotels here, beautiful hotels. I mean, we have the Florence Center has a huge facility there they put on different shows as well. So I mean, everything here, there's something to do. If you plan your trip right now, you can't come down and just expect there's going to be something and fall into it. But you can. We have a museum you can tour. I mean, there are things that you can do here.
Sure,
But,
sure.
I mean, a lot of it's scheduled, so you have to really
Sure.
look at that scheduling. But the other thing is we have a lot of industry here. I mean, people don't understand how many industrial companies we have here. I told you about my company, which is ABB. They work in the electrical field. They make switchgear and serve switchgear and that kind of stuff. Medium
And you've got a
voltage.
big one coming.
Yes, we do. That's
The
AESC.
yeah, the big battery technology company.
Yeah.
Now, when is that supposed to be there? And I guess people can start.
They're in the process of building. It's for anybody that knows Florence, if they go out towards the airport on East Palmetto and kind of hang a left on Coppers, it's up there in Wilson High School. They're already in the process of building. They're supposed to be here next year. Now, they started out that they were going to hire about 900 employees. Today, their goal is 2,700
Wow.
employees. And they're building a couple million square feet, or not a couple million square feet facility there. They will be making car batteries. I know that some people say, oh my goodness, car batteries, are they going to work, and so on and so forth. I mean, the big thing is they're supporting the BMW plant. That's where most of their batteries are going to go. What people don't understand is BMW makes a lot of cars here, but they ship a lot overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And about 75 or 80% of their cars go overseas. And the Europeans are more, they're more ready for the electrical vehicles than we are here in the United States. So they're shipping a lot of those out of the country.
Yeah.
Overseas, which a lot of people don't understand. They're like, we have all these foreign entities coming in here, but we do a lot of export too. We're not always an importer. We do import
Right.
a lot, but we
And
export a lot.
and
as
that's
well.
a big one. And it's kind of nice to have it that way, where we're exporting and not receiving.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. The
But we have a lot of other businesses here. I mean, QVC. I mean, if you're a TV fanatic like my wife, who loves QVC, and the FedEx, UPS, and the United Postal Service seem to come to my house about 3 times a day. And I and I ask her, what did you get today? What did you get today? Well, I can't tell you. And so I don't care. But she's always buying something. The QVC has a big facility here. That's their shipping facility. That I think most of the jewelry comes out of Florence. But that's a very, very secure site for sure. There's like 1,200 people that work there. These are not small employers.
Right.
I mean, so there's lots of employers here. Otis Elevators here. They make elevators. They make escalators. They have a huge facility here, right up along 95. If you're driving down 95, I think it's right near the Florence exit. You'll see the Otis building right there. So yeah, there's a lot of companies here. GE has the MRIs. They build the MRIs here. They're right out on Radio Drive. Used to be called Radio Drive because they used to make radios out there. I found out the walkie-talkie type radios, they used to make those. Now they're doing MRIs. So,
that's crazy.
It's a developing area.
Yes.
Developing area.
Now, and Florence kind of has a nickname, Magic City. Tell us why.
Magic City? I never heard that one.
No?
That's a new one to me. No, I never heard that.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I've never heard that.
So
So you'll have to tell me why it's called Magic City.
I'm only giving you what I read. Because I was hoping you could elaborate. But it was because of the last few years, I guess, and the big boom, I would say, in Florence. All the industries that have come in, and again, the renovation of, Main Street and all of the, new little businesses, local businesses that you've got going on there. This is my understanding. It's kind of like... I guess a plug for why you'd want to move to Florence, but you expand on maybe why everybody would want to move to Florence.
And I will tell you, like the Main Street, there's an organization, and I'm going to get this wrong, but they're in the Main Street organization, and once a year they pick a city, and they give it an award for being, the most beautiful or whatever it is, the most organized or whatever their criteria is, and they just won. Florence just won that last year. And now they can only do it once. They can only win once. So they won that. They won that award last year, which is a very prestigious award.
Right.
Prestigious
Absolutely.
award. So that so that's probably why they kind of call it the Magic City. We have a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of new industries. Housing is going crazy here. I know that the mortgage rates are not where everybody wants, but housing is still booming. I mean, you can get in really nice house for about $250, $237, something like that. $237 just sticks in my mind because I just did ribbon cutting for a company that has a house for sale for $237. I don't know why that came up, but it did. But that people will say, well, that has risen quite a bit lately. Yes, it has. I mean, used to be, you could get a nice house for about $175,000, but as the economy has expanded, whether that's a good expansion or bad expansion, and we're not going to get into that kind of stuff. The housing cost has gone up, but
everywhere.
Average house here is probably everywhere. Average house here is about $250. For a nice house, you can get something a little bit less for less money, and then of course you have your high end.
Sure.
We actually have $1 million homes here in Florence. We actually have, this is a big medical area. Doctors typically are paid very well. So there's some higher end homes here. Not saying all doctors have $1 million homes because they don't.
Sure.
But your business leaders live here as well. Some of them that run the facilities here live here as well. So there are some very nice homes. There are some very affluent neighborhoods. But if you're somebody like me who likes a little country, I live a little bit south of Florence. I have about 2.5 acres, basically across from a farm. So it's a nice, quiet setting. It's 10 to 15 minutes to any place in town, so I'm not really that far.
Right.
If you talk as a Pittsburgher and you say, it's going to take me 10 or 15 minutes to get somewhere, that would probably just be the end of our road. It's not going to be coming to the city of Florence. So it's a way big difference here. Way big, way different here.
Yeah, because I guess if you talk about the Florence in general. You've kind of got you like you said, your downtown, your city area, and then you've got some countryside, for people who like country or for people who like hunting
or open spaces, hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got one of the biggest country clubs there, and so for people who like to play golf, for heaven's sakes, and then you've got, gosh, not too far down the road, you've got the the Darlington Raceway. All of a sudden, I was thinking racing, couldn't remember the name. The Darlington Raceway. So you've got that right there, and again, like you said, you can get to the beach. About an hour and a half.
And it's interesting because they have actually there's about 4 golf courses within 15 miles of each other in Florence. Now that sounds unreasonable, kind of unreasonable when your city's only 40,000 people and your county's only 136,000. But there are 4 golf courses within 15 minutes of each other, basically, or 15 miles of each other, I should say, not 15 minutes. So there's Traces, Florence Country Club, South Carolina. And then it used to be the Crossing. So there's 4. Now,
right.
Different levels, of course.
Sure.
Different membership levels, of course.
Sure.
But they're all here.
Right.
And then again, if you're a beach person, heck, you can get to the beach, in probably an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes, depending on how fast you drive and if you get pulled over. If you get pulled over, it's gonna take you a little longer. But try to stay the speed limit. I'm not advocating going too fast. But yeah, just. You can actually get to the mountains pretty quickly from here too, up into North Carolina. So,
right.
I mean, there's all kinds of advantages. I mean, the thing that I like, and to be honest with you, is the fact that it's a very family-oriented environment here.
Right.
Being a northerner, coming down here and understanding the intricacies of living in the South, and also the respect that that the people have for each other is amazing. If you say yes, ma'am in the North, they think you're offending them, but if you say yes, ma'am here, that's
what you're supposed
cordiality,
to do.
Right? That's what you're supposed to do, or yes, sir. I unfortunately go to Pennsylvania because my kids still live in Pittsburgh. And somebody will ask me something, and one day I said to the young lady, she wasn't that young, but she was, in her 50s, and I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "I am not a ma'am." I'm like, I'm sorry. I said, "I live in the South, and that's how we address people to respect them." And she said, "Well, that's kind of interesting." So you have to be careful. You have to kind of switch your language depending on where you are.
That's right.
I tend to have, in Pittsburgh we say "you guys," or if you're really as they call them in Pittsburgh, yins guys. But down here they say all and y'all and all y'all. And I'll go up there and my brother will say, "You haven't lived in the South that long." I said, "I've been there 14 years. Yes, I have." I said, you pick up the language.
That's right. That's right.
But I don't cut the lights on or off. I turn them on and turn them off, but I don't cut them off. My wife does that. She does all the cutting in the house.
Right. And what is the new, I want to say gas station, but it's really not a gas station. That is the bee's knees now.
Oh, Buc-ee's.
Yeah, y'all have the new Buc-ee's.
Oh, my God.
Or the only one in South Carolina, I guess.
Yeah, we have the only one in South Carolina, right on I-95. It's at exit 170. It is huge. They have 120 pumps there.
Yeah.
And there never seems to be a pump open, but it's pretty good to get in and out of there. They have brisket sandwiches to die for. I mean, they're actually very good. They have a convenience store. They have beef jerky. They have.
It's like a small Walmart in there. I've only been in there once, and I just was walking around going, "What is this?"
Yes.
I mean, you can
they
get
have jewelry, house goods.
Yeah.
I mean, you
dishes.
can buy anything there.
You can buy a set of dishes.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and
Buc-ee's kind of turned it upside down here because now this is a landing spot if you're coming down 95 or up 95, I should say. Either way.
Right.
Either way, it's kind of a now traffic-wise, yeah, it's been crazy out there, but Buc-ee's is never empty. I can say that.
Yeah.
It's an amazing store.
Yeah, I've only been in there that one time.
Have you been there?
Just once, yes.
Okay.
I was going to see my parents who were down at the beach, and I said, I got to stop and see what this is about. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, it's like a, I kind of, if you go in there your first time, you're a kid in a candy store just looking around like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was overwhelming.
Stuff?
Cleanest bathrooms in the world, though. I was happy about that.
Yeah, that's their claim to fame. The cleanest bathrooms, and that is. And they are spotless. I mean, I don't know, I know personally my bathrooms at home are very clean, but they're right there. They're there.
Right.
I mean, they're cleaning those all the time. And it's just very well organized, the store. You can get anything from, a loaf of bread to, milk to,
dishes.
I mean, you can dishes, you can get little placards for your house, little signs and stuff like that. I mean, you can jewelry, there's clothing there.
Oh, a grill. I think I saw a grill.
Clothing. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, a small Walmart.
When they first opened, they actually sold deer corn too. I don't know if they still do that, but they did initially sell deer corn.
For all the hunters,
this is a big hunting and fishing area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this area. PD region is a big hunting and fishing area. I mean, lots of streams, lots of lakes and ponds and rivers. I mean, the great PD runs through here. We got the Lynch's River. We got Jeffries Creek. I mean, there's a lot of
the
places
Black
that
River, which
fishermen
is
can go.
as black as as it says.
Yeah.
That's the darkest water I've ever seen.
It is, but it's beautiful, isn't it? It's like it's almost like glass. It's so dark. And,
right.
It's very or quartz or not quartz, but yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of sportsmen that live here. I am one of those. I do hunt. Don't let your audience hold that against me. There are a lot of us out there in the world. I brought that with me from Pennsylvania. I didn't learn it down here. I'm not a big fisherman. I just haven't gotten into that. But my buddy next door keeps telling me, I'm taking you out. I'm going to show you how to fish. So he keeps threatening, but we haven't gone out yet. So we'll see how that works.
A little slow for me, unless we're deep sea fishing. But I get it.
Yeah. That's a patience game, but so is hunting. I mean, you're not always going to see,
deer runs only for me. I cannot sit in a stand and just still hunt. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Gotta have a deer run.
Well, I mean, you'll see
a dog
them.
run.
I mean, you'll see them, but it just depends on what you're looking for that day. I mean, I don't just go out to shoot. I go out to look for the trophy or whatever. So
Right.
But
I
eat all I
not
kill.
deer run.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about how great Florence is, and it is. As far as the chamber, I know you guys put on a lot of events for the public. I have one very particular one that I'm interested in. Please explain the Kickin' Chicken.
Chicken and Chili Fest.
Yeah, a wing and chili fest. Yeah.
Yeah. You're talking to the right person because I am the leader of that group. This is a great opportunity. We, like Florence After 5, we close down Bergen Street. We have a band, and then we invite competitors to come. They're not paid. There's a prize. They have to. There's a small fee to get in, but we invite competitors, and a lot of times it's companies here in town who have employees who love to cook, that have cookers and equipment and whatever. We supply all the wings. They have to supply all the sauce, the cooking equipment. They have to cook their stuff, and then they can also be in the chili contest because we have a chili and a wings contest. We give them an award or a prize. I think it's like $750 for the winner and $500, and then maybe $300 for the third place. So we do top three. Chili's a little bit less because their entry fee's less. It's a great opportunity. The wings are cheap. I can tell you that. You're not gonna get them any cheaper at any of the wings places. But it's an opportunity for both individuals and companies to come down and show how good of cooks they are. And then we have judges that judge the wings, and we'll announce those winners. That's the first, second, and third place. Right at the end of the evening. It starts about 5 and it's over about 9. We have, things for the kids to do. There's a water park here. There's other things to do. So it's an opportunity for families to come down, have some wings and chili, enjoy the evening, listen to the live band,
and eat good food.
And eat good food, and then there's a People's Choice Award where people can go around and there's a barcode or UPS or UPC code, and they can just click on their phone and vote. That's through Community Broadcast. They're good enough to sponsor that for us, and then that is what we call the People's Choice Award, and then that's awarded afterwards after we tally up all the votes, and that person or persons will get a $100 gift certificate and then a plaque, and then we'll put it on our Facebook page, our social media, and so forth. We've really gotten a lot of press with our social media right now. We have 674 members.
I was going to ask how many.
Yeah, 674. But we have over 2,000 people that we send our newsletter out to because they're business associates that are working at the businesses. So, and they like to get that news. And there's our ChamberLink newsletter goes out every Monday typically. It has a lot of news in it. Has a lot of things that are going on in the chamber. We just don't advocate the chamber stuff. There's business information in there. There's different things that are coming to town business wise or events. So it gives our clientele an opportunity if they've got something to come up to kind of put it into our newsletter, so that people know what's going on in town. So it's really broad based. And then of course as you know, or if you don't know, you probably do know, I have a radio program that I host. It's called ChamberLink Radio, and we do that. We broadcast every Sunday at noon on 95.3 FM. We record that on Tuesday so that we don't have to be there on Sunday at church time.
Sure.
And what I try to do there is to invite any clients that are chamber members. They have to be chamber members, though. They can't just be anybody.
Sure.
And there's a reason for that as well. We want to.
Well, you need to support
members.
the ones that support the chamber. Sure.
Yeah. And we sit down, and it's a half-an-hour program. Basically, we just talk about the person, the business, what their business does, and it's very informative. It's I learn more about my clients each time I do one of these programs, because I know a lot of them. I know what they do. I'm kind of in the institution that has brought them into the chamber, and so I learn a lot more about them. And then there's always, in any conversation, there's always the afterwards, right? So we talk for a half an hour on air, and then typically it's another 15 or 20 minutes that we talk off air.
Right.
Which is kind of fun. So, and in some cases we could probably do an hour, but half an hour is just probably that good cutoff point for most people. But we talk to a lot of people. We have done, I think in 3 years, probably over 125, 130 programs. It's recorded every week. I enjoy it. I get to know a lot more about a lot of the clients and people and personalities and how they got there. And the stories are amazing. I mean, to see, somebody that was an Army brat who's now in charge of a financial organization that he runs, it's amazing. I mean, just the stories. A teacher that was also, he was a teacher. He now has his own financial organization. I mean, it's just, some of those things are just kind of interesting how they occur.
Absolutely.
And how people get to where they are. Because, people always think, when I was a manager, they thought that I was, came out of college and became a manager, but I didn't do that. I did not do that. Nobody just does that. So, it's interesting to see and hear people's stories. So
yeah, absolutely. You're right. It is one of the best parts about, doing what we do. And it's a fast way to learn. You never judge a book by the cover because you don't know the story. You do not know the story until you do. And it's then you probably don't know all of it. But, well, thank you so much for being here today. It has been a pleasure to talk with you and to learn more about Florence and all the things they have going on and coming. But thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Well, I appreciated the opportunity. I thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast. And maybe one of these days I'll get you on my radio program. We can talk about your podcast.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Thanks.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Talking South Carolina podcast. To find out more about Jay Lavrinc and the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce, go to flowchamber.com. That's FLOchamber.com. In the Florence area, membership enhances your connections and networking much more effectively at the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce. Why not check out our website at talkingsouthcarolina.com and follow us on social media. You can subscribe to the show on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and on your favorite podcast apps. For information about being a sponsor on the show and on the website, contact us at area code 803-386-9885 or email us at angela@talkingsouthcarolina.com. This episode has been brought to you by the friendly folks at Giraffe Marketing. Find out more at giraffemarketingllc.com.
I'm gonna be the best version of me. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, roar like a lion, and I ain't even trying. No, 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 no. And I can say you'll be blown away by the change you see.